Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Whittle here with Steve Green and Scott Ott in this very special trifecta segment for you, because today we're going to talk about the death of Robin Williams on Monday, August 11th. I was sitting at my workstation. Somebody said, "Hey, Robin Williams has died." I immediately went and checked the online sources and found out that he committed suicide. I was close friends with Andrew Breitbart, and when he died of a heart attack, I remember being a little bit I remember being quite surprised at how unsurprised I was. It was the same thing with Robin Williams and the cause of his death. There's some people whose suicide would literally shock me, and that wasn't one of them. Robin Williams was, without question, one of a kind. I mean, there are millions of comedians out there and hundreds of famous ones and tens of really remarkable celebrity comedians. There's really nobody like him, and I think everybody can agree on that. So today we wanted to talk just a little bit about our memories of Robin Williams. And, of course, we'd be very interested in getting what you have to say in the comment section located below. I'll have some final thoughts on this. But, Scott, I thought maybe I'd start with you. Were you surprised at the news? And what did you think of Robin Williams and the work that he did?
Well, you know, I don't follow celebrity culture very closely, so I don't know what anybody's doing at any particular time. I was taken aback at learning about it. I think I read about it on Facebook and immediately assumed that it might be a hoax, and so I went and checked it out. But then within moments of thinking about it, I thought, you know what? Once I found out it was suicide, it made sense. I mean, Robin Williams has always danced on the razor's edge. And in a way, I said to my wife and kids yesterday, I said, sometimes I feel bad about laughing at somebody who's so close to the edge of insanity that you don't know where that edge is anymore. It's such a blurred line. Jonathan Winters experienced the same sort of thing, where he was just this sort of frenetic,
they were good
crazy,
friends.
Rambling comedian. And I remember I've got a Jonathan Winters album right here in my, a 33 LP in my record collection, and you listen to him, you go, oh my goodness, this is great comedy and deserves a clinical diagnosis. When I began to process this, a teenager I know from my church back in Pennsylvania posted to Facebook just this one line, and it devastated me. I began to cry, and I showed it to my wife, and she began to cry. And all it said was, "Oh, Captain, my Captain."
Yeah. Yeah, the classic line that was quoted so often in Dead Poets Society. I'll have something to say about that in a minute myself. What about it, Steve? Certainly a remarkable guy, certainly a remarkable individual.
Yeah, I was sitting on the sofa with my wife last night. I had my iPad in my lap. I was looking at Twitter while Melissa was talking with one of the boys, and boom, the news popped up. I can't remember the last time a big story broke that I didn't see it on Twitter first. And within minutes, it was revealed that it was possibly a suicide, and a little thing in my mind clicked. Well, of course it was suicide, but it hit me harder than most celebrity deaths nevertheless. You know, my first impression of Robin Williams was probably like all of ours, maybe, my age or older, and that was his appearance as Mork for Mork on Happy Days. And then he got his own show, Mork and Mindy, the next season, that became, I think, my first appointment television at the age of 9 or 10, however old I was. And the show had a week season where they got away from the premise, but then it came back with Jonathan Winters, and you got to see these two brilliant improv performers on TV, and it was dangerous television, watching these two guys, these two brilliant, insane men work together, and it was wonderful, and it was exciting in a way that the TV hadn't been maybe since the 1950s, which of course I never got to see. I wasn't born yet. So there was this thrill. It got me interested in improv. I did a little bit of it in high school. I joined an improv troupe in Arcata, Eureka, California when I was, I guess 21 or 22 years old, so back a little ways now. As an adult, I probably got away from him a little bit because he tended to choose more saccharine movie roles that just didn't appeal to me in the same way, but it was hopefully a good paycheck for him. But that sense of adventure, that sense of wonder, that manic energy of his, and by all accounts, a great, great big heart that just wasn't enough to carry him through.
Well, you never should speak ill of the dead. There's really three things I want to say about him very quickly, and one of them's not so pleasant, and the other two are, so I'll get the unpleasant one out of the way first. I saw Robin Williams pretty early in his career. It was a group of comedians on stage, and everybody was sitting on stools, and they kind of just went back and forth. And everybody had a chance to do their bit. It was sort of a round table thing. I don't remember what it was, but it was an open kind of a interactive sort of thing. And Robin Williams did his bit, and then somebody else would stand up and do their bit. And in the middle of their bit, Robin Williams would get up and start interacting with them and start doing his thing. And then they'd say something else, and he'd get up and inject himself into that person's act and so on. And I remember thinking, this guy's trying a little too hard. There's something really dark about this obsessive kind of manic need to be in the spotlight. I've seen him that way on many talk shows too. The sense that you never ever really got to see him when he was in the flesh. You never really got to see him without this constant doing of his bit, this constant need to have a laugh. Very early I felt that's different than even for many comedians who always need to be kind of laugh and have that sense of affection and connection. I thought it was really indicative of a very, very serious kind of a need and a sadness, and I don't think that aspect of him ever left me. I didn't much like him as a comedian. I didn't much like his comedy routine. So that's the negative things I want to say about him, because they were always so desperately needy and so trying so hard in a way that Brian Regan, let's say, or Mitch Hedberg never did. The second thing I want to say about Robin Williams that bears saying is that Robin Williams, after Good Morning Vietnam, spent a fair amount of time and effort with our military and our veterans. And frankly, I don't know how you can possibly put anything on a pan that outweighs that. You know, being a celebrity is a time-consuming business. You do not have a lot of free time. Everywhere you go, you're mobbed. And Robin Williams spent a lot of time with our troops. I have a close friend who does this too, Gary Sinise. And Gary Sinise's entire free time is taken up touring the world in the Lieutenant Dan Band. He's been to Iraq, I think, I don't know, 15 times or something. And when he's not in Iraq, he's in Kansas performing for the troops. So any celebrity that takes the time to do something that doesn't get them a legion of publicity and lots of photo opportunities, does it for the right reason, that guy's a good man in my book. And the final thing I just want to say about Robin Williams is while I thought his stand-up and his comedy was so narcissistic and kind of compulsive, his acting was the exact opposite of that. The acting that he did in World According to Garp and Dead Poet Society, as you mentioned, and Good Will Hunting, there were moments when Robin Williams became so transparent. He became so transparent, and all of that constant characterization just went away. And he let you see the pain that was obviously inside him his entire life. That requires tremendous courage. It requires tremendous moral courage to reveal that kind of weakness and darkness. And that man could act. That man was a really world-class, terrific actor. The one thing I think we can all agree about with Robin Williams is he was a natural. There's no one like him. There's no one like him, never has been, and there probably never will be. So the world changed a little bit on the 11th of August, and I don't think there's a person who's watching this who's not going to miss some aspect of it, or at least certainly not going to remember him. For Steve Green, Scott Ott, and the entire Trifecta team, I'm Bill Whittle.